Good evening, Municipality of South Dundas, and welcome to the council meeting for Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Welcome to the council team, council staff, and an abundance of guests tonight. We have a great agenda with a lot of delegations and a public meeting tonight. So welcome to everybody in attendance and welcome to everybody watching online or watching this as a recording. Item number one, we'll call the meeting to order. Have a resolution, let it be resolved that the April 23rd council meeting of the Municipality of South Dundas now be opened at 6:01 p.m. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Confirmation of agenda. Any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda? I'm going to make one amendment if I could. I'd like to move the discussion items A and B, the fire services and the development charges, to after the public meeting. This way we can have our guests that have come from out of town release them early. Any other additions? Seeing none. Confirmation of agenda. Let it resolve that the Council Municipality of South Dundas approve the agenda as amended. Councillor Vino, Councillor Smith, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Councillor Vino.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, I have to disclose on 7A, 9E, and 8D, two of them being family members' properties and one being a family member's business.
Very good. I will. Yep, 7A.
7A.
8D.
Yep, and 9E is an Edward.
I will disclose pecuniary interest on 8D, Mooresburg Plaza. Any other disclosure of pecuniary interests? All right, adoption of minutes. Let it resolve, or any errors or omissions to the minute meetings from April the 9th. Seeing none, of a motion, let it resolve that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as presented. The regular meeting of April 9th, moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so first off, a delegation tonight. I was really happy and excited when the announcements came of the awarding of King Charles III coronation medals. And South Dundas was the lucky recipient. Not lucky, we just deserving, but we were selected. 4 of 5 residents are with us tonight, and we'd like to honor them. So this evening, it's my distinct honor to recognize the King Charles III Coronation Medal to a group of exceptional South Dundas residents and Canadians who exemplify the finest qualities of service and dedication to our community and to our nation. This prestigious medal honors his coronation, His Majesty King Charles III, as the King of Canada, which took place May 6, 2023. Across our great nation, 30,000 medals will be awarded this year to those who have made significant contributions to Canada or achieved something outstanding that brings credit to our country. Each recipient before you have demonstrated remarkable commitment to their communities, their profession, and our nation. They represent the diversity of talent and dedication that makes Canada strong, from veterans of our Canadian Armed Forces to public servants and community leaders. These individuals have gone above and beyond in their service. On behalf of the South Dundas Council, it's now a privilege to present the King Charles certificates, accomplishments to each of our distinguished guests. So I'm going to, I'll move to the front and I'll read a quick little brief sentence about each of our winners, and I'll have you come up and we'll present with the certificate. So first recognition, Marlene Lewis. Come on up, Marlene. Marlene has devoted her life to community service in Princeton, bringing people together through coaching, park revitalization, and events like the Spring Fling. Her volunteerism extends to supporting local institutions, inspiring others to serve in their community. Congratulations, Marlene. Thank you very much. Councillor Smith, come on in front, Marlene. We'll officially give you a certificate. Very good. Yeah, sure, why not? And Marlene, you can see, is proudly wearing her medal. Very good. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Marlene. Next up, John Ross. We could probably write pages about John, but briefly, John Ross is an accomplished inventor, community leader whose career accomplishes television technology, aviation, and development. As founder of Ross Video, he earned prestigious honors, including an Emmy and the Order of Canada, while providing employment to hundreds of local residents. His volunteer work has transformed South Dundas, in particular Iroquois, and the waterfront, and the airport, and the beach, and everywhere in between, making him a respectful businessman to the community. Congratulations, John. Councilor Vino, was you one of the things that John, he was talking earlier about, he even helped solve problems on the Canada Arm from the...
No, it was the space station.
The space station, that's right. The space station, you couldn't get the video, so.
That came first.
Right on, very good, here we go. Wonderful. Very good. Thanks, John. Next up, Lieutenant Colonel William Shearing. Come on up, Bill. Bill Shearing, a retired lieutenant colonel who commanded the SDG Highlanders, continues his dedication to military heritage by leading a project honoring the 6,700 Canadians who died liberating Netherlands in World War II. He will host the Dutch ambassador in Morrisburg next week, unveiling a plaque. His military service remains active as a very community organization driven as passion and history and mentorship. Congratulations, Bill.
Always up. Always up.
Thank you very much.
And for our fourth presentation tonight, Shelley Spencer. Shelley embodies community dedication shaped by hard work and resilience from her career in printing industry to farming in Bristol and supporting her husband's business. He embraces challenges. Her volunteering began during the 1998 ice storm and continues through her support of local fairs, youth sports, park revitalization. Shelley has emphasized frontline volunteerism throughout our community. And if you've been to the hall in Dixon Corners, you'll be amazed. Princeton, sorry, the hall in Princeton, how great that looks. So thank you very much, Shelley.
Thank you.
And not with us tonight is Lois Keys. Find my glasses. I'll just briefly mention Lois Keys demonstrated extraordinary community support, lifetime commitment to rural healthcare access. She's an advocate for healthcare and volunteers throughout the community. She's a powerful example of deeply rooted community member. So thank you, Lois. Okay, well, thank you very much. And for guests, you don't have to stay for the business of the municipality. We do have some other delegations. But one last time, here's our 4 medal winners, the Coronation King Charles III Medal. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along on the agenda to 7A, public meeting, zoning amendment, Z 2025-03, Carmen Road, Iroquois. I have a motion, let it resolve that the public meeting consider a proposed zoning bylaw at Carmen Road, Iroquois, concession 1, range 1, part lot 25 be opened at 6:09 p.m. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. So I will turn things over to our planner, Ms. Morin, but I will just remind everybody, under the Planning Act, I want to advise you that if you do not make an oral presentation or written submission before the proposed zoning bylaw amendments are adopted by the municipality tonight, you are not entitled to appeal the decision through the Ontario Land Tribunal. If you wish to make an oral submission to the application this evening, we ask that you come forward State your name and address and your comments. I will now call upon planning consultant Stephanie Moore to provide us an overview of the proposed amendment.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. So tonight, application number Z03-2025, being vacant land on Carmen Road in Iroquois. What I'll do is I'll kind of go over an outline of this meeting. So this meeting is being held pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act. Requests to be notified of the decision can be submitted to myself at planner@southdundas.com. So this meeting is an open forum for the public and council to gather information, ask questions, and voice comments and concerns. An overview of the zoning amendment will be provided, and then followed by an opportunity for the applicant to comment or present. Following the presentation, there will be an opportunity for comments and questions from the public and council, and an opportunity for the applicant or myself to address them. A decision may be made later this evening or at a later date. As Mayor Broad mentioned, a 20-day appeal period begins following the decision. So if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of South Dundas before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Municipality of South Dundas to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of South Dundas before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So I'll go over how planning is sort of structured in Ontario. So there is first the provincial planning statement, and that was recently redone for 2024. It's a statement of the government's policies on land use planning. It applies province-wide and provides clear policy direction on land use planning to promote strong communities, a strong economy, and a clean and healthy environment. Under the Planning Act, it states a decision of a municipality in respect of the exercise of any authority that affects a planning matter shall be consistent with the policy statements issued. So at the regional level, so the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, the official plan, it outlines a set of goals and objectives for development in the county for the next 20 years, while having regard for the effects of the social, economic, and natural environment of the municipality. It contains policies to be used for the review of development applications and any other planning decisions. And then at the township or the municipalities level, the zoning bylaw, which is what most people are probably familiar with. A zoning bylaw controls the use of land in a municipality by designating land parcels with specific land zones. The bylaw specifies the permitted uses, so commercial or agricultural or residential, and the required standards, so building size and location, setbacks, parking requirements in each zone. Zoning bylaws and any amendments to the zoning bylaw must conform to the official plan, which also must conform to the policies of the provincial planning statement. Public works and bylaws to conform with the plan. In the Planning Act, it says, despite any other general or specific act or special act where an official plan is in effect, no public work shall be undertaken, and except as provided in subsections 2 and 4, no bylaw shall be passed for any purpose that doesn't conform. So we have received an application, as I mentioned before, Z03-2025. The purpose of the zoning amendment is to rezone the subject lands, so the lands identified by the red outline, from rural to residential fourth density holding, R4H, for future residential development. The effect of the application is to permit a range of residential uses, including single detached dwellings, duplex dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, and apartment buildings. The holding zone would be in place until a subdivision or site plan agreement is approved for the lands. So to date, we have received no other such application. So the official plan designation for the property is outlined in the property is outlined in red. It is designated within the urban settlement area in the residential district. And then in the zoning bylaw, also identified by the red outline, it is currently zoned rural, which doesn't conform actually with the official plan at this time. And the proposed zoning is residential fourth density holding R4H. And to date, no formal comments have been received, although I did get a phone call inquiring about the property, and specifically that we hadn't received any additional planning applications or subdivision or concept plan. So that is the end of the presentation. The applicant is present here this evening. If Mr. Vino would like to add anything, or?
Very good. I will open it up to council teams. Any questions or comments, and/or anyone from the public? You can just step forward, turn on the mic, state your name if you have any comments. Councillor Smith, we'll start with Councillor Smith, and then, yeah, we'll go to the public, yep.
Okay, through you, Mayor Broad. So I just wondered, just for everybody that's here tonight, if you could go through the different levels of residential, like there's R1, 2, 3, and 4, and just why are we going right to R4? Because R4 allows the most dense of population in an area. Would we normally, is that a good idea to go right to that right from the start, or should it go to, say, an R2 or something like that?
So the application that we received was to R4. I will go through the R1 zone is specifically for single detached dwellings, R2 for single detached duplex or semi-detached, R3 I believe is row houses or townhouses, and then R4 also includes apartment buildings, but there could be a combination of those on a property, because that zone allows for all the different types of dwelling units. Perhaps, I believe, from my understanding from the application, is for marketability of the property, the request was to the R4 zone.
Yeah, I think the only thing we have tonight is the request to change the zoning, no site plan or other, at this time, it's just the zoning at this point. Yeah, go ahead, come on up, sir. The very left-hand side of there's a button there. Hit that.
My name is,
Theo will help you there.
sorry.
Perfect. Thank you.
My name is Bert Wisink. I live at 5859 Carmen Road. It's almost across from the designated area. Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, councillors, thank you for hearing me. My wife and I chose this place for our retirement, so we were enjoying the serenity of Carmen Road. Can be busy at times, but it will be busier if it gets rezoned and built. I have just a couple of items. I need the cheaters too. I'm looking at bylaw number 2019-48, policy number 10-2, adopted by previous council. And it's about the tree canopy and natural vegetation policy. And that basically states reducing air population, improving water quality, providing habitat for flora, fauna, mitigation against erosion and subsidence, and providing public amenity and increased property values. There's currently, I don't know how many trees are involved in that property, but there's several hundred I can see from my position. And usually when it comes to construction, we saw that across the road at the Vale Craft Homes. It's just straight clear cutting of everything, and you have no trees left until they're planted. Little saplings are planted again on people's front lawns. I know there's some trees being replanted along the beach road, but it goes sort of against the policy of having a tree canopy and the effectiveness of having that as to encourage retention of mature trees and vegetation. Sorry. And And it's also good for the environment having trees, because they absorb the carbon monoxide and stuff we produce and stuff like that. So that was my first point. And my second point was the campground. The campground in 2024 had an approximate revenue of $140,000 to the coffers of this township. If I was a camper and there was construction going on or there was no tree left in front of me, I don't think I'd want to camp there anymore. And I think that would be losing revenue for the township as well, too. So those are my comments, and I thank you for listening to me.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wasinka. Thank you for your comments. I will make one comment just on tree canopy, if you don't mind. The deputy mayor and I are certainly advocates at the county level, and a lot of the tree plantings and the forestry activities come through the counties. In fact, my first term, or my first year, budget time, I was supporting, deputy mayor and I were supporting purchasing of more trees, more roadside planting. So we continue to want to have tree canopy. We continue to work with Phil at the counties as well. The counties continue to buy tree lots to ensure tree canopies throughout all the municipalities, and we're working on some within South Dundas. Councillor Smith has mentioned, and we're working on a plan for planning at our landfill sites, all the properties around our landfill sites that are currently unforested. So we continue to think about tree canopy and forestry in those veins for sure. So it is something that we do think about for sure. Any other comments? Ms. Moore?
And I very much appreciate those comments. In the subdivision site plan design guidelines, tree planting plan would be required. Vailcraft does intend as well to plant trees in their roadside. In this sort of instance, it is important to guide and direct development to our serviceable settlement areas. We talk about growing a lot. Growing is good, but growing in the right places is better. This area has been identified as being a part of the urban settlement area limit. And with that, it's focused on, the next 20 or 30 years, this property currently does not actually conform with the official plan designation, and the zoning bylaw seeks to rectify that situation.
Very good. Thank you. Any other, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. And I know we don't have a plan of subdivision in front of us. But my question though is, there's a drain that kind of goes east and west along the southern portion of the property. Is there really going to be much opportunity to build south of that drain? It looks like the corridor is getting fairly tight in that area.
May I answer through you,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor Broad? So I do agree that the drain does bisect the property. There would be opportunity for a developer to relocate that drain, probably to make best use of the buildable area of that property. It has been done before, but it really depends on the developer and the proposal.
Subsequent, yeah, and I agree. I appreciate your comments on the tree canopy for sure. I know being involved with a lot of development properties outside of our area, it's quite a tree canopy is a hot topic, and having a number of trees maybe in and above just one per lot, something that we could look at. The other thing we could look at too is having a little bit of a buffer between the residents to the north and maybe the resident to the property to the west as well, to ensure that we will be retaining some tree canopy as well. So I think there is some opportunity there. Recognizing it's not going to be a one-for-one, that's for sure. I recognize that when any tree that comes down, I can't replace one-for-one unless we buy other property and we do it elsewhere. But I think there is opportunities to have some tree canopy in the long run here too.
Yes, come forward.
This is very impromptu.
That's great.
My name is Margaret Lee, and I live on the corner of Carmen Road and Elizabeth Drive. So I'm directly across from it.
Yeah.
And it just came up talking about the drainage. There's a tremendous amount of water that comes down through that ditch. It's unbelievable. That was enlarged a few years ago. I mean, I've been there so long, I remember when Arla and her father planted those trees. That's a long time.
That's
That's
not
a
that
long
long
time.
ago.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of things to consider environmentally. The birds are amazing. That may not seem important to people, but if we're going to be environmentally responsible, we have to think about those things. But the water is an issue. It's very low land. When we built and started in '73, we made sure that we never put a full basement in. Like, so our furnace room is down a few levels from the actual family room. We've never had a problem, but we are low there. It just goes that way. So that's.
No, very good. And I think one of the, when I became mayor, one of the first things I learned a lot about was drainage. And Councillor Ward reminded me it's one of the oldest laws in Ontario, the Municipal Drainage Act. So certainly agree with you that any property owner, even the property owners that own it today, they are responsible to, you know, to pay to maintain that drainage. So, yeah, so any development would have to make sure that
Yeah,
municipal drainage.
that would be my main concern,
for sure.
would be
Yeah.
the drainage.
Yeah, no,
It would
absolutely.
have to be really looked after, because sometimes people go through things and just ram it through, and, you know, and I think a lot of things need to be considered.
Sure. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, I totally agree with you. Again, same as the tree canopy drainage needs to be addressed properly. What we find with the subdivisions that get created is any pre-development, they have to control to that pre-development, whether they have to create some ponds, just like at Velcraft or even at Swank Construction, they develop ponds, dry ponds, wet ponds, whatever. So yeah, absolutely agree with you that the drainage will have to be addressed properly for sure.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
Ms. Moran?
And just on that same, I think the deputy mayor characterized it sort of perfectly, that stormwater management is an important part of all development. And this property would be subject to that same level of detail. And so we would require a stormwater management plan, a lot grading plan, sediment and erosion control plan to go along with that. And in terms of the environmental component of it, South Nation Conservation Authority would be consulted and involved the whole way through the development process.
Very good. Any other comments? Come on forward, Brian, Vino.
To my knowledge, the water problem that was there 2 years ago was caused by the beavers.
Yeah, we get updates on that beaver situation quite a bit. I think Chris St. Thomas there, he is here, yeah.
And the other
yeah.
part is the actual drain that you're talking about is not registered as a drain. It's just a ditch, so it can be moved.
Okay. Yeah, those are all good things that definitely we'll be
But
aware of
anyway,
for
yeah,
sure.
the beavers did the damage.
Very good. Very good. Okay. I can close the meeting then, Ms. Moran, we're good? We have everything we need?
If there are no further questions or comments, then yes.
Okay, very good. I have a motion, let it be resolved that the public meeting to consider proposed zoning bylaw amendment Z 2025-03 Carmen Road, Iroquois, Concession 1, Range 1, Part Lot 25 be closed at 6:28 PM. And the council of Dundas rise and convene back into its regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Could we please retrieve Councillor Vino? Thank you, everybody that came for the public meeting. You are free to go. You do not need to stay for the rest of our council meeting, but happy to have you stay. Okay, so we're going to move to discussion items. 12A, Fire Service Collaboration Update. The Fire Chief, Emergency Services Leader, Jimmy Eldred Hughes.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is one of the most exciting reports I've had the opportunity to bring forward. This is a quick information report that brings to light the collaboration that's currently happening amongst the chiefs throughout South Dundas, North Dundas, North Stormont, and South Glengarry. So I'll just touch on a couple of the topics and elaborate. So the first one's joint training. So as council's aware, there's many challenges that have been put on the fire services in meeting accreditations, certifications, and maintaining those disciplines and training. Something that South Dundas started a little while ago with North Stormont was a bit of a shared training agreement. So some of their members joined us on some of our specialized courses and vice versa. Once we saw the positive effects of that and kind of proof of concept, we started collaborating a little bit more at the county level, and we've had 2 other municipalities join us and 2 more that are discussing too. So what this offers us is the opportunity where each municipality can offer a specialized course. We can now offer that course to our staff. So, 4 or 5 different courses at once, but we're only responsible for teaching and maintaining one of them. So it's a cost-effective way for us to train our staff and meet those special certifications and stuff. It's also great for our staff to get to know one another as we are all mutual aid partners. And now that we're working more together, they're starting to see each other on scenes now. So that building relationships is important. As far as the purchasing side of things, we're currently in discussions on group purchasing for large quantity items such as fire hose, turnout bunker gear, items like that. So that's currently in the works. We're actually, we're all going to tour a 100% Canadian fire hose factory not far from here. So we're working on those different initiatives as well. There's also an opportunity when we talk about group purchasing to look at our fleet. There's different types of fire apparatus out there. If there's something that can suit all municipalities and we can order those in a quantity at once to save on engineering costs and things like that. And then we have our shared service agreements. So this kind of reflects a little bit in our E&R bylaw, and council's mentioned it before, such as an aerial truck and what services we can get and share. So there's many disciplines like tech hazmat, confined space, rope rescue, ice water rescue, all of these different disciplines. They can be very expensive and taxing to build, maintain, and continuously train to. What we're looking at is a model where, with the support of councils, if each municipality specializes in one discipline on a shared service agreement, we would be able to provide multiple services to our municipality while only having the burden to maintain, cost, and train to one. So as an example, if South Stormont is doing ice water rescue and we're doing confined space, we'll provide confined space to South Stormont in exchange that they provide us with ice water. If North Dundas was to do technical hazmat, we will provide them confined space and they will provide us technical hazmat. So just kind of a shared service agreement model to, again, offer a higher level of service with being physically responsible and meeting the challenges that we're faced moving forward.
Well, thanks, Chief. That's a great update. Certainly appreciate day-to-day activities that you endeavor, and then to take leadership and participation with your fellow fire chiefs. I know the fire chiefs from North Dundas, North Stormont, and South Glengarry are here tonight supporting you as you guys continue to work. I think at SDNG Strat Planning Day, collaboration was a big piece of that, and we continue to talk about it. And if you're watching me at County Council, I'm sure I bring it up at least once a meeting. So these type of activities are fantastic. And you think about, some of the rescues we've done recently, some of the activities, the calls we've been on, we have some gaps, and to fill those gaps would be fantastic. So continue to appreciate these types of activities that you're working on. Comments, questions from the Councilor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So I just wanted to say thank you, because I think you and I have talked about this before, Chief, and this is really important. This is something that I think is really important in SDG that we haven't done enough of. So I really appreciate that you're bringing it to the attention. I know Director Hyman and Director Villeneuve also have. I believe also Director Director Jansen there, everyone's starting to meet and form these collaborative groups because it is starting to get very expensive to do things independently. So I'm really happy that, one, you're doing this in fire, and two, you have your colleagues to support you. It's really great to see that they support you enough that they come to these council meetings, so we appreciate that. One thing I wanted to note is that I really hope that, going back to the fire master plan, if we could include this collaborative, these ideas in that master plan. I think we do these master plans and they're often not regional in terms of that they just look at what we're doing in South Dundas, but I'd love to include what you're doing in this group to be part of that master plan and maybe to grow this group in the future. So if maybe he could speak to that, if that's something that could be added.
I think the CEO DeHaan is out with this, he has a plan to bring the master plan back, so he's got a timeline that he's been working on with the chief on that, so I think that's in the works, right, Chief?
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Mayor, just on my colleagues here, so tonight we have with us the North Dundas Fire Chief Craig Restrick, North Stormont Chief Nancy Ann Gauthier. Did I get that right? Yeah. It's not too often we use each other's last names. And Fire Chief of South Glengarry, Dave Robertson. So as far as the fire master plan, this is the type of stuff that'll definitely be included. We kind of look at a fire master plan as objectives to meet. How we meet those objectives is totally up to council. So to your point, a lot of times there's a lot of suggestions that are quite out of reach. Working collaboratively, we believe that we can meet those objectives while staying in line with our municipal strategic plan and being fiscally responsible.
Perfect. That's from here.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. I'm going to think outside the box here a little bit and put Stephanie on, and maybe she doesn't want to answer, but we're going to be advancing, hopefully, with development charges. And we know development charges are for growth-related items in the future. If we are collaborating with other municipalities and say they grow as we grow, and we collectively need a ladder truck, can development charges be used even if it's for other municipalities or townships as well as ours? Like, just say our growth isn't kind of hitting that mark, but maybe somebody else's growth is?
We won't put you on the spot for a direct answer,
You
but
want to think about
that's a
that
great
or
question.
No,
whatever,
that's
but-
okay. I was going to answer with the non-answer. Now, I would have to look at the legislation and maybe probably lean on Watson and Associates. So what I think maybe we can do is I can bring that back to Watson and Associates and see what they have experience with in the past and what the
That's great.
legislation says.
Back to you, Chief.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. I think the difference would be that if one municipality is using the development charges to purchase the ladder truck, and they're owning it and they're meeting the requirements for it, as far as the service agreements that are created afterwards are no different than automatic aid agreements, mutual aid agreements and stuff. It's just sharing that service. And I will be bringing a report back to council as directed, outlining when we would hit that threshold.
Yeah, no, you understand.
Yeah, that was a great question. I appreciate the question, for sure. Yep. Any others? Well, thank you very much, Chief, for the report. Continued great work in that area, and thanks for our three chiefs that are here tonight. Thank you very much for attending. Okay, we'll continue on to discussion items. We'll stick with Ms. Moran. She's been busy tonight. B, development charges study, update on the process timeline. Ms. Moran.
Speaking of. So last meeting, you received a presentation from Watson and Associates on the draft DC study. While council was generally supportive of the nature of the draft development charge study, you also requested more information, and just to make sure that we're having open dialogue and moving that forward.
Yeah, we wanted to give also Councilor Ward an opportunity. She was not at the last meeting, so an opportunity to ask questions as well. So it's a good for that as well.
For sure. So I did actually receive the final study today, and I will be circulating that to council in the coming days, just after staff have had the opportunity to read through. I think it's going to answer a lot of the sort of detailed questions, specifically that the deputy mayor had for us. Yeah, so based on the feedback, we're thinking about having a developer builder stakeholder meeting held on May 20th. And that'll allow local developers and construction stakeholders in the community to sort of discuss those proposed changes in a little bit more detail with Watson and Associates. And then we can share those comments with council afterwards. And then we would also have that official public meeting, statutory public meeting, scheduled for May 20th as well. And that would include a formal presentation and address some community feedback. And then as a follow-up to that, we're also planning to have a committee of the whole discussion in June to allow council that opportunity to sort of consider the public feedback, the stakeholder feedback, and have a little bit more of a thorough discussion on that proposed bylaw and implementation plan, whatever that may look like. So this is just sort of, yeah, that update you were requesting.
Questions, comments, follow-ups?
Thank you, Mayor Broad, and thank you, Stephanie. Yes, for sure, I had some additional questions and detailed questions, and I'm glad to hear that we're going to get that study so we can kind of absorb it. I'm hoping too that maybe if we do have any questions that maybe just comes up, that maybe we can have it as a discussion item for our next meeting, just if there's some stuff that maybe we just want to, I know we're going to have the committee of whole meeting, I know we're going to have the public meeting, but if there's anything that comes up, I think we should be asking the questions beforehand, so at least council can be somewhat prepared for that stakeholders meeting as well. So yeah, no, I'm glad that we're moving forward with it, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're kind of noted and we're thinking about was our local other municipalities and how their charges work and how it's included, just so we're familiar, as some of our property owners or developers would be familiar with what other locals may be doing. So that was a key piece too. Yeah.
Yeah, Mayor Broad, and that was kind of some of the questions I had for Stephanie as well, was just about the other municipalities and comparing apples to apples and seeing what they're doing, what we're doing, and what we should be doing. The other kind of high-level stuff that we were talking about was, okay, we have development charges, but once we've kind of grown, what are we going to use the development charges for? Like, it's we're going to trigger certain things that we could use it for, but we want to make sure that we're not collecting charges that is just going to sit in a coffer. And as Councillor Ward, and maybe this is something you can answer later, is do we have to spend that money at a certain time period? I mean, I can't imagine we can keep that money for 25 or 30 years that we've got to spend it. We just got to make sure that if we're collecting, that we do have a reason that we're collecting to spend for growth. And that after we grow, if there's no reason to spend it, then why the heck did we,
Yeah, absolutely.
get it, right? So it's
Yeah,
discussions
absolutely.
like that, I think we want to have
Yeah.
that open dialogue.
Yeah, yep, fully supportive as we think through the process.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Any other comments or questions at this time? Councillor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So I was able to follow along the last meeting you guys had.
Good,
So
yeah.
most of the questions were asked, and great answers, obviously, by both you and Watson Associates. And I'll look for the draft report. Some of my questions are probably more geared into there, but I might find the answers in that report. And then, yeah, I guess if we have it as an item for discussion again, we could ask those questions publicly. But I appreciate the opportunity to have a committee of the whole discussion after that stakeholder meeting, because I think that's really going to help council have a better understanding of where the community sits with regards to development charges. And I myself am curious to see what comes out of that consultation period. So again, appreciate the timeline and your work on this. So thank you.
All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Councillor Smith, sorry about that.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Broad. So I just also wanted to comment, if we understand it correctly, the figure that was given to us, the charge that we could charge was around $12,000 and a few dollars per door. That is the maximum that we could justify charging according to their form, that we don't have to charge that much. it's,
Yeah,
we could
correct.
charge, we
Like-
could justify charging up to
Yeah.
that much, should we choose.
Yeah, and I think that's, why we do the study. We're required to prove, based on what our growth could be, what's the maximum amount that could be. So that was just the maximum amount allotted with the study. But I'll let Ms. Moran comment as well if you want. Unless
Nope, I think that was a perfect answer.
Perfect, yeah.
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 Watson and Associates have to be able to justify and stand behind their study. So that's why the in-depth study gets done, and then that, I think it was actually 10,000.
Was it 10? Okay, I can remember exactly how much it
500.
was.
Yeah.
It was 10 and 10.
Yeah, exactly, and so you can make a decision on reducing that if you want. You can make a decision on, including, a cost of living, increase per year. It's really up to council, but you can't go over that amount.
Okay.
And a specified areas where like fire, water, there's specified specifically how much in an area you could collect as well in that
Yeah,
report.
and
Yeah.
so a follow-up to that was, is it the same amount that we charge? Is it just for like towns, villages, or is rural included in that as well? Or do we have the option of that, or would it be, we could set it up however we feel would be best?
You can set it up. The intent is that it's for every door. That water and wastewater charge would not apply to rural.
Rural.
If they're not using our water and wastewater collection system. But that's where that sort of difference sort of lies.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. Seems like we're getting in a discussion already about it, right? This is exciting. One of the clarifications that I'd asked Stephanie as well is, if you recall, there was kind of the sewer and water connection charges and then the DCs. And the question I had for her, was it all category as DC? And it's not. So the service connection fees are still there. They in town when they hook it up, that's what they pay now, and they're going to continue paying that, but it's going to be just considered connection fees. It's not the DC portion. So the DC portion is just the water, just the fire, roads, rec. Was there a fourth one there? Or just the three? I can't recall. Regardless, I think and that came up to about $10,000. So anybody developing in town is only going to have, no, I shouldn't say only, is going to have an increase of about $10,000, not the full amount, because they're already going to pay for their connection fees regardless. And the reason why you want to keep them separately, councillors, because you don't want it, we want to be able to access the connection fees we collect if we need to upgrade or replace or hydrants or water and sewer and stuff like that. Does it kind of make sense?
But we could just add on, but if you thought about it, if we wanted to build a new water plant, then we could have a water DC charge, save that money for that future water plant. That would be a way, that would be how you would think about it.
You
Yeah.
could split that portion up even further
If you wanted to, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So just to add on to that, just from the DC charges, I guess I would try and make an argument that developing new lots within the villages or subdivisions would cost more to us than, say, somebody in a rural area just building a house. I would have to imagine we would take on a lot more new city streets, you see what I'm saying? That whereas out in the rural area, it would be very, very minimal, the added charges. So why would it be exactly the same, say, on the fourth or fifth concession than it would be within the villages?
Ms. Moran?
And that's it. I absolutely appreciate where you're coming from, and the study looks at our assets, the increase to the needs of the community as a whole. So even if you're building out in the country, potential that it could be children that need to access an arena or recreation. That's another house that's still going to need access to our fire, and our paramedic services and police services. So that sort of, I absolutely hear where you're coming from, and maybe Sean Michael Stevens will be able to explain that a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, well, that's good. Councillor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So, and we are having a little bit of a
Yeah,
discussion. So,
I'm glad we moved it to the start of the meeting.
yeah,
Everybody has
so,
energy.
So, I mean, I did miss the last meeting and I apologize. So I do, I won't agree with that, Counselor Smith, just because I feel like we're community building and we're all in it together. And I can understand your concept, like your idea behind it. And I understand because I live in a rural area too, and I don't have sidewalks or streetlights. But I can tell you, like, I'm sure with your children, you visit those areas, right? And you frequent them and you use them and you benefit from them in some way. So I feel like if we're going to look at it, we look at South Dundas as a whole. I know other communities, and maybe Stephanie can talk to that, but there are some communities where they don't have rural areas pay as much. I don't know if I really want to get into that because it seems to favor, and I believe your words are development in the right, correct me, how do you say that?
Growing is good, but growing in the right places is better.
Better. So you want to make sure you're growing in the right place and you're investing in the right areas. So I would just tend to disagree on that one. And then the other item I'm considering, and I will bring forward later when it's appropriate, is I'm not sure I want water sewer to be in development charges. I think that might be best outside of development charges because there are a lot of regulations that come with DC charges, and the province and the federal government control those charges. So if we needed money for water sewer, I would prefer to keep that out of that. But that, I'll make that point later and I'll see what the feedback is. And it is now, but I just
No,
want,
that's
don't,
what, that's what the proposal.
that's
Sorry,
what the
that's what the
proposal.
proposal is. That's what I had clarified. It's gonna stay separate.
Separate.
It kind of in the presentation, that's where I was confused. In the presentation, it showed us as one, but we need to keep, I think we're gonna keep that separate as you're suggesting.
Yeah, and
Just for that purpose.
Yeah, I think I would appreciate that. And then my question to
Sorry.
follow up to that is, those connection charges are only $5,000 and they haven't changed for many, many years because they were like that when I was here. So I guess my question, or maybe through you, Mayor, is to ask staff to bring back what that number looks like in a
So,
separate report.
Yeah, so we have that coming. So
Okay, perfect.
they were working on the final details. They had a number, but they wanted to confirm it.
Yep.
So they're going to bring it back at the next meeting.
Okay,
that
and it would
number.
be separate from the development charges session, just so people don't
Right, and
get
that-
confused.
Right, and that's why when I asked, I just wondered if
Okay.
we could just,
Yep.
let's work on that and keep it separate, not to
Excellent.
confuse the whole, the situation.
Okay, perfect, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, Ms. Warren.
I just wanted to, I'll just
Yeah.
say it. So the scope of the study was to look at both. And staff, when we met with Watson Associates, it became clear that it made more sense from the staff's perspective to have water and wastewater connection fees stay as water and wastewater connection fees instead of including them as a development charge. So while because it was part of the study, they did make comment on it and they did make a few recommendations of something that we can look at in the future. So that is just sort of that, I just wanted to clarify for the record that it was part of the scope and they did as they were asked, and we're gonna look at that and bring it back in the future.
Very good. Good. Also, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, and I agree. I agree with what you're saying about the connection fees as well. Sometimes it is though project specific. I know that one specific project where there's a pump station, their connection fees actually are higher as they develop. So it may be, as long as it's open, that if it's project specific and we have to charge more to recoup, but yeah, I 100% agree.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Ms. Warren, for the discussion. Excellent. Appreciate it very much, and more to come. Okay, moving along on our agenda, 8A, PF 2025-09, facility usage. Happy Face, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Facilities, David Jansen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So in front of you tonight, the first report I have is just a little bit of a partnership that we've been growing here. Obviously, the municipality works pretty hand in hand with a few of our local not-for-profits. They're mostly based out of the schools at the moment. I guess fortunate for the schools, unfortunate for some of the providers in the schools. There's a lot of renovations going on in some of the schools this summer, so I've been working with them on trying to relocate some of their services that they provide for families here in South Dundas. So Happy Face provides services out of Nation View Public School. According to them, it's actually their most attended program that they offer in all of SDNG, and they also offer a program here in MPS. There's renovations going on in both schools this summer, so we're looking at moving the Mooresburg Public one into the Riverside Rec Hall, so that'll still, we weren't quite able to work it with our schedule into this building, but still close enough for the residents of South Dundas that hopefully they'll be able to maintain that level of service. And similar idea with Matilda Hall, so they're going to run 2 camps in there, they're going to divide it. I think they're expecting about 70 to 80 youth there almost daily between the 2 age groups. So I think it's a great partnership for us, and just continuing with the summer camps that we're going to be offering, and it's going to be busy in all of our halls this summer.
Comments, questions? Councilor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So thanks, David, for making sure that this continues to happen. Happy Faces are a really big part of our community. And I personally have experienced working with them. So I think it's a great service they offer. Going back to a point that I raised at a past council meeting about lack of daycare spaces, I certainly hope that discussions continue, since we are assisting Happy Face nurseries at this point, that they also look at Iroquois and looking at growing their programming to there. I know you and I have had that discussion, Director Jansen, so I'm hoping that that discussion maybe continues, or maybe you have an update. That would even be better.
Dr. Jansen?
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Broad, certainly when we're meeting about these topics, you know, I'm always a big advocate for everything. So it has opened the door, and we're starting to have some discussions with the city of Cornwall and some other service providers. Obviously, lots of moving parts there. I'm quickly learning that opening a daycare, there's about 800 steps you have to go through, and I think we might be at step 2.
And it is a topic at our economic development, community involvement, discussed at our table. We do discuss it there, and ideas are come forward, and then we pass them through. So that's excellent. We continue to speak that. All right, I have a motion. Let it resolve that the Council of South Dundas authorize the Director of Parks and Recreation Facilities to authorize Happy Face Nursery School to utilize Matilda Hall and George Howitt Memorial Hall during the months of July and August for the summer of 2025 summer programming. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Staying with Director Jansen, PF 2025-10, facility usage, early on.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. So very similar tone here. Early on did reach out to me. They offer a summer camp out of Iroquois Public School, which is also undergoing renovations this summer. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to provide them with the Civic Center. Just, we have our own camps that run out of there. There's a lot of community programs, so it's just, we'd be reducing our own programming in order to offer them. But we wrote out the Rolodex, and we contacted everybody who has a hall in Iroquois, and I'm happy to report that they will be using the Knox Presbyterian Church in Iroquois this summer. They got approval there last week to use that. They did use Seaway as their emergency location, which you talk about the many steps in daycares. This is one of the many steps that you have to fill, so they're just backfilling that, so they'll be using the Civic Center as an emergency location.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, I have a motion to let it resolve that the Council of South Dundas authorize the Director of Parks and Recreation Facilities to approve the MOU allowing early on to utilize the Iroquois Civic Center as an emergency relocation site for their daycare services. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Staying with Director Jansen, PF 2025-11 Arena Dehumidifier Replacement Tender Award.
Yeah, so through you, Mayor, so the tender closed for the dehumidifier replacement here at the arena that was included in the 2025 budget. We had quite a few bids. They did have the option to bid on an alternative unit than the one that was specified. We did get one bid with an alternative. It's been reviewed by our consultant, the engineer, so it's been approved on that end. Outside of that, if council has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, I have a motion. Let it resolve that the Council of South Dundas award tender PRF 2025-05 to ATEL Air for the price of $93,500 plus HST to complete the dehumidifier replacement at the Mooresburg Arena, and authorize the clerk and Director of Parks Recreation Facilities to execute the contract. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. And 8D, Mooresburg Plaza.
Okay, thank you. So we have a report here. Just going to go back here. A report here for the Civil Engineering Services, Mooresburg Plaza Infrastructure Upgrades. So David, you've got the floor again.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So to the members of council still here, we have in front of us the tender results of the civil engineering services for the Mooresburg Plaza. So this project, I've sort of outlined what's included in phase 1, 2, and 3 for this project. We're looking to award phase 1 and 2, but just because we get the price on the construction administration, that's just mostly to get us a firm price going forward. You don't want to finish the design and then ask the consultant for the price on construction. Sometimes the numbers get a little bigger. So it's good to have that number so you're negotiating against something, but we'll just approve the, enter into contract for phase 1 and 2. Outside of that, we had 3 submissions. They were reviewed. I'll admit I dumped it on our new CAO's desk on his first day, so he was part of our review team. So we had 3 good submissions there, and ultimately Greer Galloway was our top submission. And if council has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions, concerns? I just have, again, more of a comment, and I know that I've had some discussions with yourself and CAO Dahan. I think we're getting closer now to coming up with a full comprehensive report, so I still would like to, I think we'd like to see that sooner than later. And I understand that there's some costing that are going to be estimates and whatnot, but I just feel that we need a full comprehensive report to lay it out on the table so it's nice, easily read. Then we can debate on how, if there's different ways we want to finance it and the terms of financing and all that good stuff, and then move on to the next topic of discussion if there's going to be a next topic of discussion. So I believe in talking with CAO Dahan, that's probably coming in the next month or so. So look forward to that report. And I did offer that if there was any input that, since I seem to be pretty vocal on that, if there's any input that you guys would like me to have on the report, I'd be more than happy to assist with that. Not suggesting I'm going to drive the discussion because it's your staff's report, but any little input to make it easier for us to follow, that'd be offer that up. So, okay, so I've got a report here. Let it be resolved that Council of South Dundas award tender PRF 25-02 Mooresburg Plaza Civil Engineering Design Services to Greer Callaway for the price of $73,520 plus HST for phase 1 and 2, and that council additionally approve the price of $20,500 plus HST for phase 3 construction admin, and that the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities and the clerk be authorized to execute the contract. I get a mover, seconder. Pretty easy when there's only 3 of us here, right? Mover, seconder, and all in favor? Passed. I signed this, right, on behalf, right?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, I didn't carry there.
Thank you. Okay. 8E, CS 2025-08, proposed council meeting update changes. Clerk LeBrun.
Thank you, Mayor Broad, and through you. As you've read in the report, we're looking to make some changes to our council meeting schedule for the months of May, June, September, and October. And if approved, I'll make sure that the proper public notice is provided, and we'll update our meeting calendar on our website. But if you have any questions or comments, happy to answer them.
Yeah, just one comment is, we had a request to move 3 dates, which kind of made us move 6 to make them all work out because they don't have back-to-back weeks, so that's why. Any comments, concerns on the changes? Still a Wednesday, so very good. I have a motion to resolve the Council of South Dundas amend the 2025 council meeting schedule as presented and authorize the clerk to provide necessary public notice changes. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. F, CS 2025-09 minor capital purchase, council meeting production software. Clerk LeBrun.
Thank you, Mayor Broad, and through you, the report before council this evening is to provide council with a quick update regarding our municipal modernization services capital project. Our original capital project scope included several technology upgrades, and since then, we've identified a critical need to upgrade our meeting video production system. So the production system that we are using today was purchased secondhand in about 2020. So we don't really know the original manufacturer date, but what we do know is that we've been experiencing increasing technical difficulties, not not difficulties that you might see during a council meeting, but beforehand, there's often a lot of testing and troubleshooting that we have to do to get all the technology working together. And this is probably due for, we've been slowly upgrading our technologies, our TVs, our microphones. So right now, our current production system is getting older and not as reliable as it once was. So updating the system would integrate with our modernized equipment, including our mics and monitors. There's no additional funding beyond what's already approved in the budget. We're simply requesting to reallocate these funds specifically to replace the smart TV, which we're no longer going to do. We are going to repurpose it. However, we've made a different, created a different setup in here. So the funds that were allocated to the smart TV will actually go towards the production system, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
No, very good. If you're here at 4 o'clock, Tia and Kaylee are on the phone with Mike at the counties trying to get everything squared away, and we've had a few issues. But yeah, no, I appreciate us trying to make sure, and we want to meet our bylaw of recording and having it live, so we want to continue that. Any questions or concerns? All right, seeing none, I have a motion. Let it resolve that Council of Dundas approve the amendment to the municipal modernization of services capital budget to reallocate funds for the procurement of outdated council meeting video production equipment. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. And moving along to G, CS 2025-10, Health and Safety Water Stream Funding Application.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. So the report before you is, I guess, a request for approval to apply to the provincial health and water safety funding. So the province has announced 175 million in funding through the health and safety water stream under the municipal housing infrastructure program. The project would be cost shared between the applicant and the province. The province would fund 73% of eligible project costs, and the municipality would be required to fund the remaining 27%. So the funding is designed to help municipalities build, rehabilitate, and expand aging water, wastewater, stormwater, flood, and erosion infrastructure. So staff are recommending that we submit an application to support the rehabilitation and expansion of our aging water and wastewater infrastructure in Morrisburg and Iroquois. The application would include linear infrastructure, pump upgrades, and any other rehabilitation project already that's identified in our asset management plan. So we've confirmed that the grant is now open. It was deferred from February. It's open now, and the application deadline is June 26th. So we have a team ready to tackle this grant on behalf of Iroquois and Morrisburg. So looking for your support and approval to proceed with the application of this grant.
Questions, comments? Councillor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So I'm kind of maybe going to ask this question. So I know the Deputy Mayor asked a while ago about the infrastructure under the roads in Morrisburg and Iroquois. And the reason why I'm going in this direction is I don't know that that report has come back yet to look at what the asset inventory is under those roads. Because I would prefer to see us apply for infrastructure under some of those roads to get that paid for, and then maybe we could actually afford to redo some of the roads in town. Because I know that's part of the plan. We've been tackling a lot of rural roads because they are obviously cheaper infrastructure-wise. So just wondering if that's been done. I'm looking to no, Jeff's not here, but I don't know if any.
So through you, Mayor Broad, Director Hyman, Jeff Hyman, and myself, we have come up with a plan of like we gave the next 10-year expected life for the water mains and also for the roads, and we identified from best to worst. I'm not sure if Jeff has the report completed yet, but I have identified the water and wastewater side, and I know he is working towards the road side too. So I suspect you're going to have that very shortly.
Very good.
Just to add to that, Mayor Broad, if I may, I think the intention of this grant would be to do the villages and to do the infrastructure, as you mentioned, that is in most need of repair. But we can bring a report, just given the timeline, I think we could probably bring a report back at the next couple council meetings to identify that. And I guess it's a question to council, are you looking, would you like us to bring back kind of what we're applying for approval instead of kind of, it's very general, this report, we're kind of just looking to start the process. Just wondering.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. I apologize. I got a tickle and I don't want to drink any more water because it was soapy water. So now I got soapy tickle. So two things. I think Jeff was almost ready to bring back a report, but I kind of suggested maybe to hold off until CAO Ben DeHaan had a good chance to look at it. Just and not saying that Director Hyman or Villeneuve is not capable, but that, that's what Ben's expertise has been for so many years. So I kind of did say June would have been a good month to have a separate committee of the whole, because I think it's going to be a good discussion. In terms of really specifying, are you suggesting that we specify like streets or anything like that, or just, because I think you just keep it broad. And it's for village infrastructure, and you just keep it broad. But
Yes, through you, Mayor
I'm not
Broad.
sure,
That-
I'm not sure if that's what the councillor was kind of suggesting or not, so.
So through you, Mayor Broad, it's my understanding, reading through the application, that you need specific projects identified, or else they will not be funded. So just broadly saying we're gonna replace a pump or a water line or a sewer line, I think they're looking for direct impact projects. So that's why I'm just wondering, the application doesn't close till the end of June, so perhaps we have time to have that committee of the whole discussion. I just thought it might be easier to also tackle maybe two birds, one stone, like if we can get some money, because it is stackable funding, which is interesting because your OSIF funding and I don't know what the other one's called now, they've changed the name, but you can stack them on top of each other. So the roads portion could be funded by OSIF funding, and then the water portion could be funded from this. So I'd like to look at that. So I would like it if staff could bring back some of those roads. It doesn't have to be the full report maybe, but just those options, and then council could maybe, if they're comfortable, if the rest
Yeah,
of
the
council's
ones we're going to
comfortable
apply
with it.
for at
Yeah.
minimum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to add on to that, I think obviously, obviously we were at Roma when I got announced. It was delayed the election. That's why it's been just back open again. I think we should, potentially make sure we're engaging with EVB, because they've been doing all our water studies, right? And they can help us in probably writing that grant projects, as well as I've met with CEO DeHaan, and I have met with Crestwood Stratcor about advocacy, right? So if there's something, we may bring back, this is something that, we really want to get funding for, because we weren't eligible on the Build Houses Faster Fund, because it was for new infrastructure. This is for existing infrastructure, which is what we fall under. So exactly that. So I think we're clear on the instructions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Well, the deadline is end of June, so we'll get her, we'll make sure we are in before that.
Yeah, and I think as soon as we identify these projects, I know where you and I need to be,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I have a motion. Let it be resolved that the Council of South Dundas authorize administration to apply the provincial health and safety water funding stream to support the rehabilitation and expansion of aging water wastewater infrastructure in Morrisburg and Iroquois. Moved by,
Okay, it's okay.
Deputy Mayor, thanks for putting your hand up. And Councillor Ward, all in favor? Carried. And I think the deputy was referring to, we'll be meeting up with MPP Nolan Quinn and making sure we are meeting with all the right members of Parliament to make sure they see our application on the table, like all the other ones from all the other municipalities in Ontario. Okay, bylaws. 9A, 2025-13 appointment of Chief Administrative Officer Ben DeHaan. Clerk LeBrun.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. This is somewhat of a housekeeping bylaw. As we all know, the CAO DeHaan is with us, and not right now, but he is officially started as our CAO, so this bylaw just makes it really official, so.
Okay, I have a motion to resolve that the Council of South Dundas hereby adopt bylaw 2025-31, being a bylaw to appoint Benjamin DeHaan as Chief Administrative Officer for the municipality of South Dundas, and hereby appoint signing officer of the municipality of South Dundas. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Nine B, 2025-32, appointment wedding officiant to Chantal Lapierre. Clerk will run.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. This will be the last you'll hear from me tonight, but this is another bylaw that we're bringing forward. Chantal Lapierre is an employee of South Dundas, and this bylaw would delegate authority for her to complete marriage solemnizations and officiant services for the municipality of South Dundas. Weddings are becoming very, very popular, so it's nice to have staff who are engaged and really excited to be performing weddings when they come up, when opportunities come up.
Questions, comments? Seeing none? Oh, sorry, Councillor Smith. Councillor Smith.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Broad, just a question for Clerk LeBrun. Do we have any weddings booked thus far for this year? And
Yes, we do. Councillor Smith, we have several weddings booked between myself, officiant Brent, I believe Chantal has one. There's several. There's actually, I think Tia's counting them right now.
11.
Very good. Deputy Mayor?
I just wonder, are you looking for a date to renew your vows?
Excellent, Councillor. Excellent. The revenue line, very good. Okay, I have a motion to resolve that the Council of South Dundas adopt bylaw 2025-32, being a bylaw to authorize and delegate the authority to Chantal Lapierre to provide marriage solemnization services for the corporation of the municipality of South Dundas. Moved by Councillor Smith, and seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. 9C, 2023-33, South Dundas final tax rates for 2025. Treasurer Stewart.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. The bylaw before you is for the 2025 final tax rates. This bylaw allows staff to prepare the final tax billing for the municipality, so again, revenue, which is great. So the tax rates that are attached to the bylaw are for the municipality only, and the rates are based on the approved 2025 budget. The bylaw is being presented a bit early this year. I think if everybody will remember that we did have a postal strike towards the end of 2024. It was paused, and there is potential for the strike to resume. They're saying no sooner than May 22nd. So we do want to get the final tax bills out early so that they are received by mail. This won't change the due dates. The due dates will continue to be June 30th and September 30th, but we just want to make sure the residents do receive them on time. If there's any questions, be happy to answer.
Questions, comments? Seeing none. The resolve that the Council of South Dundas adopt bylaw 2025-33, being a bylaw to establish 2025 municipal tax rates, be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed. Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, thank you, Treasurer Stewart, for making sure we get those out in the hands of folks before potential postal strikes. I appreciate that. Moving along, 9D, 2025-34, new animal control bylaw. Andrew Turner.
Good evening, Mayor Broad. Andrew Turner, Chief Building Official. This is just a follow-up to our last meeting where we did a report regarding updating our animal control bylaw. We're just looking for final approval so I can get it into operation. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions, comments at this time? All right, seeing none, be resolved that the Council of South Dundas adopt bylaw 2025-34, being a bylaw to regulate, care, control, licensing of animals within the municipality of South Dundas, and that bylaw 2002-15 as amended shall hereby repealed upon date of passing of this new bylaw. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? carried. And 9E, 2025-35 zoning bylaw amendment, Z 2025-03. Our planning consultant, Ms. Moran.
Thank you, Mayor Broad. We received a zoning amendment application from the Vino family to rezone with the purpose of rezoning their property, as you heard earlier this evening at the public portion. In preparation for future sale and development, Mr. Vino and their agent reached out wishing to sort of keep that property marketable. They have been hesitant to restrict opportunities by zoning it one way or another, given that it's so close to the St. Lawrence River and the Iroquois Lock. So in terms of the sort of specifics of the property, it's about 14 acres in size, and it's adjacent to the municipal campground, Carmen House, Craig Packaging, and then there's some rural residential uses as well. So in terms of from the policy perspective, the provincial planning statement maintains that we're generally encouraged to promote strong communities by managing development patterns and directing land uses in an efficient way, and that planning authorities shall permit and facilitate all types of residential housing options, and that development should be directed towards settlement areas. This section in the PPS also goes on to state that intensification within built-up areas based on local conditions is desirable, and they should be based on compact form. The proposed amendment complies and is consistent with the PPS. In terms of the official plan, it is subject to the policies of the county official plan, and it is currently designated urban settlement area, residential district. The OP encourages sustainable land use patterns, and that development should respect the character of the settlement areas in the rural communities. There is a table in the official plan that outlines the sort of variety of residential, both low, medium, and high density housing options, and that we should be encouraging infill opportunities. So the proposed zoning does comply with the official plan policies. So staff do recommend the residential fourth density holding zone, and that holding is meant to be on there and removed at a later date when a subdivision agreement or a site plan agreement has been entered into and full services have been brought in.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Moore. Questions or comments this time? Seeing none, I have a motion to resolve that the Council of Sally South Dundas hereby adopt bylaw 2025-33, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2010-48 within respect to lands legally described as concession 1, part lot 25, former village of Iroquois, municipality of South Dundas. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Ms. Moran, for your work on this public meeting and followed up bylaw. Okay, boards and committees. Economic Development and Community Committee, we met on April 15th with our full team and a delegation from both waterfront committees. So that was excellent committees of all the things that's going on, like in Iroquois with new garbage cans and lights, drainage, some plantings, the fly-in breakfast. They're going to do a tree burning similar as Morseburg come next Christmas, working on benches and planting more flowers. Morseburg continue to work on raising money for the multi-use pad, going to have the accessibility mat at the beach. They're doing plantings, more seating, more shade structures in the works, events again, more movies, etc. Christmas lights. Christmas lights was a big hit, and the committee talked quite a bit about that, and that was lots of great feedback on the Christmas lights at the Morrisburg waterfront. So appreciate that. And then also they're talking about bike rack. So more to come through those committees of council, but they gave a great update to us as then, because that rolls into some of the work we're doing. We're attending a cycling workshop. Tia Fraser Dupuis and Ralph Rick continue to work on developing more signage. We talked a lot about tourism and activities we'll do in tourism. Obviously reviewed all of the economic development activities that we have going on. We did talk about we will be doing a business survey. So Tia and myself will be doing a business survey with a bunch of business owners to bring feedback back to our community group, as well as it ties into, I don't want to say requirements, but asking from rural affairs as they continue to work in that area. We have some grand openings coming up. Speech therapy is tomorrow. Business in Iroquois, Roma Pizza's opening. Dundas been opening. We have to get back there with that official opening. So lots of things in the work. And then also the CIP is open for South Dundas. So the at the counties, it's SIP? No. RIP. RIP. Your throat, RIP. Yeah. RIP has been open and closed at the counties. Although we had some South Dundas applicants work with the committee, there was nothing approved at this time as those projects are ongoing. But the local CIP is now open for anybody interested in any of that. Okay, that was it for economic development. Waterfront committee update, Iroquois.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Broad. I'm going to make this a little bit briefer than what I usually do. We had our meeting last week. There was a lot of good stuff that we talked about. Keith and Perriette were invited back because they had resigned, and we gave them a letter of recognition. So they were very appreciative of that. We talked about, we did have a delegation, Candace Latulip came in and talked to us about all the ongoings that's going on in Iroquois, and maybe some collaboration that we could do together, eventually moving a couple of the events at the waterfront versus having them at the plaza, but nothing major. We certainly do not want to take anything away from what they're doing at the plaza, because they do such a great job. But things like the drive-in movie, stuff like that, the outdoor movie, maybe we could move it to the beach at some point in time, just like what we're doing here. So she just told us about some of the awareness stuff, the autism float for autism dates, and wanting us to potentially help out with that and providing our services. We talked about that. One of the things that I need to bring forward to council, we talked about it before, was the installation of cameras. Mr. Ross had went through and gotten a lot of quotes and landed on a quote that was a little bit out of our reach. I think it was 4 or 6 cameras, and I think the quote was something like $23,000. So Mr. Ross, being Mr. Ross, kept looking into different avenues and came up with a solution to install 4 cameras and some signage for a cost of $2,000, in which he will donate the cost. So there'd be no cost to us, but because it's on municipal property, we do need to provide an approval for him or for the waterfront committee to do that. So I guess I'm looking at a couple nods here, if that's okay to do that, and we'll monitor it, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we need to do it. Sorry, Dave, sorry, I thought I might have missed something. You can jump in if I'm missing anything, but.
So just to clarify for council here, I'm planning on bringing back some reports at the next council meeting on 2 topics here. They were, I think, the deputy mayor is about to get there. They're looking at a little bit less grass cutting and the camera. So they're working on preparing some recommendations to council using the form there. So I'll bring those back along with a few staff comments along with them. And so council can make their decision now. They don't have to make it off of the deputy mayor's comments today.
Thank you, David. It was more of a nod that, we can move forward with the report, but I thank you for clarifying that. We had a good meeting. I think that's about it for now.
Yeah, very good. I think then the camera piece, we'll, get back to the Morrisburg waterfront, with
Yeah.
that group and go from there,
Yeah.
what we'd like to do there, so.
Yeah, we're making some, sorry, I might as well just finish off here. We are making arrangements now to do the additional plantings along Adair Road and the flower beds and trees and stuff like that. So we're creating
Great.
some dates and gonna get some dates to do all that good beautification stuff, so.
Very good. Border Mayors Alliance, just one meeting last week. We reviewed the proposed strat plan for the Border Alliance, and I'll bring that probably at the next council meeting. We'll probably get that report to us this week, and I'll bring that back for what our kind of activities will be going forward. And under E, county meeting was yesterday at the county building in Cornwall. Had a delegation presentation from Cornwall Tourism with their strat plan. And T and I did attend the Tourism Summit as well a couple weeks ago. So what we've brought back all the information on the tourism strategic plan for Cornwall and SDNG, and we've asked the ECDEV committee to incorporate some of those strategies. So then we become aligned between the overall SDNG to what South Dundas's will be. So we'll start to see those mesh together. Some great ideas. They did some great work, and we learned a lot at the Tourism Summit as well, including, which I noted at the SDNG meeting, the number one tourism dollar spend is food and beverage, then accommodation, and then transportation, and thirdly, entertainment. So we have quite a bit of entertainment activities, golf courses up Canada Village, but certainly restaurants, we have more open, which is a benefit, and then accommodation, we really only have a few opportunities. So accommodations would be things we should continue to work at. And I know we have a few proposals on our table, so that would be awesome if they move forward, as that's a big attraction from tourism. And I remember yesterday, the deputy mayor wrote it in big numbers on his piece of paper, when the final announcement of Great Wolf Lodge gets communicated. I mean, they're building the roads, they're building infrastructure for it now, but the official announcement, but they're expecting that 700,000 visitors to Eastern Ontario for Great Wolf Lodge on an annual basis, right? So there'll be a lot of trickle effect through to us. So that'll be great on a tourism side. We also had presentation from Lisa Smith and Melissa Morgan, the city of the Cornwall. So we're required to have a community safety well-being plan, and that's through the counties. We currently have the social development committee do that, again with collaboration. Probably could thank our former CEO Mills as he continues to work with the city of Cornwall now about the city and us collaborating and the counties to do that work versus paying the outside committee to do that work. So they did a presentation on how they could bring that in-house and then integrate the plan with the city and us, and then obviously it'd be a cost savings. It would be probably significantly cheaper having our own staff work on that plan, and then filter into the social network that we pay through integrated shared services today with the city of Cornwall. So that was a good plan moving forward. And lastly, I already mentioned the regional center programs. Yeah, so those were the highlights from the county meeting. Okay, consent agenda, 11A, financial statements, South River Conservation Authority, year end December 31st. B, annual report, Cunningham Swang, Integrity Commissioner, Services. C, newsletter, East Ontario Wardens Caucus. D, resolution, City of Peterborough, use of X by the City of Peterborough. And E, KIR Matilda Lions Club fundraiser, fees waived. So I have a motion that resolve that all the items listed under the general consent section of the agenda be adopted as presented. Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Any notices of motions? Motion let resolve that bylaw 2023 being bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn at 7:33. Councillor Vino, Deputy Mayor St. Pierre, thank you. All in favor? Carried. So as we close tonight's council meeting for Wednesday, April 23rd, I'd like to make two notes. One is we are hosting the Dutch Ambassador next Friday at noon to unveil a plaque for Dutch Meadows. Open invitation to the public and any council and staff. Please just register so we can get an idea for numbers, but that's next Friday at noon. So it's exciting to have the Dutch Ambassador visit our our municipality. And just want to follow up on tonight's earlier celebration we did with the four winners. There's 5 overall of the King Charles Coronation Medal. So congratulations to Marlene Lewis, John Ross, Lieutenant Colonel William Shearing, Shelley Spencer, and Lois Keys. We certainly appreciate all the things you have done for the municipality of South Dundas. So with that, we'll say good night.